Now, I was, of course, aware that Wolfman belongs to the Universal Classic Monsters universe, with the likes of Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, Mummy, Dracula, and some more that I can't remember. To be fair, I don't know why I'm listing them. I think you all know this, but I haven't seen any of those films, especially the ones that came out between 1913 and 1956. I think those dates are. I have, however, seen the Invisible Man remake from 2020, which was 5 years ago, and I wasn't actually that excited to watch it. I think I remember it just didn't really seem to be my thing at the time, but when I did, I ended up really, really enjoying it. And when I found out Leigh Whannell was attached to this Wolfman project, that led to some excitement as well. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too familiar with Leigh Whannell's work. I haven't seen the Saw franchise at all. I think I'm still too scared to watch them. But I know he wrote the first three. I have seen the Insidious films that he wrote, but I say haven't seen a lot of his work because they were ages ago, was the last time I saw them. So I can't really comment on what I thought of them because it's just been so long since I've seen the Insidious films. But as a director, The Invisible Man is the only one of his work that I've seen. This will be a spoiler-free review, by the way, just letting you know. But if I keep on chatting too much, I will go back into editing and say when a spoiler is coming, so you can skip ahead at that warning if needs be. Now, January has a certain reputation of being a dumping ground for quite a few studios deciding what to release, especially the horror genre. But I would say over the past few years, this reputation is kind of folding. We're getting quite decent horrors in January now, and for me, Wolfman belongs in this list. You've got the likes of Megan from 2023, 2022 Scream. I think people liked Ron Turn. I haven't seen it, but I've heard critics and audience thought it was fine. They give it pretty okay, decent reviews. Not amazing, but like decent. Hence why I say they're getting decent horrors. Not amazing, but they're fine. And yeah, I think Wolfman belongs in this list for me. Like I said in my intro, I don't know the story of Wolfman. This is my introduction to the character, introduction to the story, and I can't really say too much on how Leigh Whannell adapted the story, but I thought the story was fine. It does follow very similar plot points to other horrors, but at this point it's kind of hard to find horror that doesn't share plot elements with other horrors, you know? It involves a family who head to Oregon after a death in the family to help package up stuff, but get attacked by what they think is an animal, and then the father begins to transform into something terrible. So yeah, the premise is something that you would have seen before. It sounds like something you've seen, but I thought it played out just a little bit differently. It's quite a slow burn to get through to the climax of the film, so if you're not a fan of this slow burn, slow pace, you know, it takes its time to get to the end, and you want jump scares, you want scares from the off, from the beginning, this might not be the best for you, but for me, this works in the film's favour. I like that we didn't get a quick transformation. Him slowly getting progressively worse as the film progresses made it so that he felt human in the final scenes. I expected the film to be scarier than it was, with a whole lot of jump scares, feeling more eerie, more tense, but I didn't really feel it. This might sound a little strange, but whenever I watch a horror film, I whisper to myself, jump scare, to like mentally prepare myself a little more. I did that a few times and nothing happened. I can't lie, I can't really figure out if this is a good or bad thing. I do hate it when horrors use poorly executed jump scares to act like it's a scary film, but also when pulled off at the right time and in the right atmosphere, it can be really effective. The actual Wolfman I didn't find scary at all. He looked atrocious. He was scarier up to the final outing of the Wolfman, which is a shame because this build-up of a terrifying creature kind of fell flat. What did surprise me was the use of body horror to make it creepy, bringing the horror aspect in that way. There was quite a few times where I was grimacing, and the practical effects which made it so realistic was so impressive. I think they wanted the film to be more emotional than what I managed to get from it. For example, there's quite a big focus on Blake, who's the father, and his father not having the greatest of relationships when they were a kid, that he was constantly scaring him with his behaviour, which is why the kid left. But this never really played out into something more. He looked a little rattled when he returned to Oregon, but other than that, for me, it just felt a little thrown out there. The only reason I can think of is that they made the father-daughter relationship in the film the forefront. So you can sort of make a comparison. But I think this relationship played out fine. I found myself not really caring much for Blake though, which made me trying to care for a relationship a lot harder. But I did care for Ginger a lot, who's the daughter, and I feel like I should have been invested a lot more in the relationship. Like, the first thought I had when I left the screening was Ginger, for the rest of her life, is going to need a whole lot of therapy, and that is not going to get her anywhere near better to recovering from that, because jeez. On a technical level, I was kind of surprised with what I saw here, especially with the use of sound. You know, to further enhance the transition of the father, they would isolate sounds to show how more animalistic that he's becoming, which was really, really well shown by a scene where a spider's in a bathtub. He thinks someone's breaking in upstairs, or the animal is breaking in upstairs, but really it's just a spider crawling up the bathtub, and that's all he can hear. He can hear each individual leg crawling up. And I think that was really, really nice, really well done. Look, I'm kind of mixed with Wolfman. There are moments of the story that I liked. I technically liked what they managed to pull off as well. But the story felt generic, and it wasn't ultimately a scary film, bar the body horror, which a lot of people don't really find that scary anyway. A lot of people wouldn't have been grimacing like I was. So as a horror, I don't think it did its job. But I still kind of enjoyed it, which is why I'm a little confused with what I'm going to rate this. I think I'm going to go with 3 stars, but I can definitely see myself having to rewatch it, and then the will probably change. But I can definitely say that I much preferred The Invisible Man in 2020. It had a bit of everything. You know, you had the tension, the emotion, the scares, which made it a great horror. And to be fair, when you look back at the horrors of this decade, it's up there as one of the best, to be honest, for me. If you've seen Wolfman already, let me know what you thought. I want to know if, like, I'm in the right ballpark here, because I know quite a few people have had mixed reviews on it, so I'm quite intrigued to see what everyone's going to think. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.